What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're doing part two of my Celtics extravaganza. I really wanted to talk about the Ime Udoka situation, even though it's old news at this point, even though it's still unresolved, because I haven't addressed it yet. So I guess my number one stance on Ime is I hate this guy. I hate him. I'm glad that he's not coaching our team anymore. I'm glad that he will never coach our team again. I can't wait to get rid of him. And I will never forgive him is probably strong. Um, but yeah, he's trash in my eyes. And let me explain why I have such strong feelings, because I've heard the counter arguments from the idiots of the internet, from my own best friend, who basically was like, he didn't even do anything wrong. He's just out there, having sex with girls. No big deal. What does it even matter? How can you even like suspend someone for something like that? And while I can understand the sentiment that a man being unfaithful is not that big of a deal in the grander scheme of things, because it's like happens all the time, all over the world. I think what's important is the context of the situation here. And the context of the situation is why I hate Ime so much. Um, Again, I don't necessarily think that what he did, and we don't even know. That's the first thing. We don't even necessarily know exactly what he did. We've never been given the full story. The reports are all over the place. He slept with the person who sets up the travel thing, who had a husband. He may have slept with a girl who was married to like the vice president of the Celtics organization or someone higher up in power, which definitely seems to be the case based on how insane the punishment was for him. Uh, some of the reports say that he had already been busted, swinging his thing around, and the organization had told him to cut it out, and he didn't. Some of the reports say that um, that they broke it off, him and the girl, that they broke because the girl was married too. That they broke it off, but then he continued to pursue it even after she said no, which, by the way, I don't believe. Um, some people out there saying, oh, he didn't even cheat because he's not married. He's just engaged to this woman for 10 years who he has children with. Like, come on, man. Does that really matter? Like, so if you're not married, you're allowed to be unfaithful. That's such BS, man. But like, I get it. Like, you wouldn't think like cheating on your girlfriend would be this insane problem. So let me get into why it is such a big problem. And here is my contextual argument for why this is an unforgivable crime from Ime. Okay. We are arguably the best basketball team on the planet. We were last year and we are this year. We are in this very rarefied air of being able to compete for an NBA championship, which is incredibly difficult to do, right? Incredibly difficult. And anytime that you can even sniff the possibility of winning a championship, you need to be 100% focused on that goal. That should be everyone's goal. And from all accounts, before this story broke, it seemed like that was the culture that we were building through our head coach, Ime, on down through our players, that we were going to do whatever it takes to win. Think about all of the accountability that Ime required of his players. Think about how he was meant to be a leader of men, how he was meant to inspire them to do more than what they thought they could do, right? And just keeping them focused on playing insane defense and committing so that we could win a championship. And then realize that this same guy, was he even focused on winning a ring, or was he focused on filming a new episode for Wife Hunters? I mean, where was this guy's priorities? And that's where my disgust and hatred for Ime comes. Like, bro, we're trying to win a championship right now. We have zero room for distractions. Zero. We have one goal, and you're supposed to be the one who's leading that charge. And instead, you're just out there trying to get wet. Like, it's insane to me that he thought that was okay. And if these reports are true, that he had already been busted and basically told to stop, and he just thumbed his nose at the Celtics ownership or whatever and was like, "Nah, I'm gonna do whatever I want. This is like my Roman Empire here. I'm gonna be the king. I can do whatever I want." Insane, insane levels of no accountability from a guy who's preaching accountability to our players. So, what if you're a player? What are you supposed to think if you're being you're being led by a hypocrite, a guy who says, "I am the boss. You have to listen to me." And that's how Ime ran this ship last year. Don't get it twisted. He was throwing these players under the bus in media all the time, trying to get them motivated. Like, I am the boss. You listen to me. You respect my authority. And then meanwhile, he's not respecting his boss's authority. He's banging their wives. How insane is that? And as a player, how would you ever be able to listen to a word that this guy says and take him seriously when he's got his eyes focused not on the prize, but on somebody's wife or somebody's wives? I just think it's absolutely despicable and shameful. Like, dude, you're a millionaire, man. You got all the options in the world. Can't you like get on Tinder like a normal human? Like, can't you just go out somewhere and find someone in your free time instead of doing it on company grounds? Like, it's BS, man. And I was fired up about it all off season. I'm still angry about it. The only thing that's made me less angry is the fact that we have been so successful without him so far, and Missoula seems like he might be the real deal. That has been a very good silver lining. But this situation was a mess, and it is like 90% Ime's fault. I'd like to say that 5% of the blame goes to the woman as well. I don't care that all these arguments about, like, all right, I'm gonna get myself in trouble right here. I'm just gonna say it takes two to tango. All right. And we're living in a world now where we're focused on equal rights, treating men and women equally. So let's not pretend like this woman, what this woman was, or these women were that he was sleeping with, let's not pretend like they have no agency. Let's not pretend like they're these like useless, powerless damsels in distress that have to sleep with Ime because he has some power over them in the structure of their workplace. I think that is complete and utter BS. These are grown-ups. These are adults. They make their own decisions. And whoever this woman was, who shall not be named, they're treating her like Voldemort. She's culpable for this as well. And the only reason that no one's angry at her is because she doesn't matter. That's why. She's not, and again, this goes back to the context. I'm not super angry at the woman because the woman doesn't matter. Who cares about some woman who books plane tickets or whatever her role was, or was married to some rich dude? She doesn't matter. She's not important. Whereas Ime was incredibly important. And there's different expectations for people in different positions. You know, if you're working at Walmart and you cheat on your wife, nobody cares. But when you're the head coach of the greatest basketball team on earth and you are competing for championships, you don't do things like this. You just don't. And so that's why it's almost all Ime's fault, even though it takes two to tango and this woman is to blame as well. She just doesn't matter. She's not important. And I also think I'm going to say 5% of the blame for the Celtics higher ups because the way they handled this. And again, I don't know what their reasoning is. I know they had like a law firm come in and look at this whole situation, and they must have like gotten sound legal advice as to how to navigate the situation so that they wouldn't get a lawsuit in either direction, or they were able to somehow get out of Ime's contract without paying him, which, by the way, I don't care about. But the fact that they didn't, come forth with any of the details, and the fact that this suspension was so intense, it just makes it feel like it was this personal axe to grind against Ime. He slept with somebody powerful's wife is what it kind of feels like. And again, I don't know if that's true, but that's the feeling that we get. And honestly, I don't feel bad about hypothesizing about what happened because they didn't tell us what happened. And there was this whole press conference with Brad Stevens where he was like practically crying. Oh my God, the women in our organization, they've been treated so unfairly. And I was just like, they've been treated unfairly because of you and ownership that won't tell the story. Of course, people are going to guess. What do you think people are going to do? Just, oh, nothing happened. Our championship run with our championship coach is just gone and we'll just accept it. Like, I'm sorry, but I think the whole thing was just a terrible look obviously for Ime, terrible look for him, and he's mostly to blame. But I think it was just a bad look for the organization as well. Um, just really bad. So yeah, screw Ime. Really just not happy with him. And he's definitely going to get another opportunity to coach, but I'm glad it's not coming straight away. I think he does need to do the time. And yeah, I just hope he goes somewhere like, I don't know, somewhere far away. Go to like Orlando or something. Like I just don't want to deal with him anymore. But yeah, that's my take. That's my take on the Ime situation. You have to understand context. You have to understand the situation. You can't just say that being unfaithful is not a big deal because that's really not the issue here. It goes way deeper than that. So that's it. Let me know what you think. If we're still talking about this Ime situation, or if it's only me that's still hanging on to a dead story. And I'll see you soon for part 3. Peace.